Welcome to Singapore Property Talk Law. This is the place where we really take a deep dive into the insights you need. Before we jump in today, could you do us a quick favor? Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel.
Yeah. Join the community so you don't miss out on our future deep dives.
Right.
We really want to give you that edge. So today, we're peeling back the layers on something, well, super important, but maybe often overlooked. It's the rules, the regulations that housing developers here in Singapore have to follow when they advertise their projects. Think of it like your, personal decoder ring for all those ads you see. Okay, let's unpack this and see how it impacts you.
Absolutely. And, understanding these rules isn't just academic, it's crucial. It really equips you to make informed decisions. We're talking about one of the biggest investments most people make, right? These regulations act like a shield for buyers. They ensure clarity, prevent misrepresentation, and fundamentally, they uphold the integrity of our property market. It's about keeping things fair. That's a really important point. Okay, so let's kick things off with something basic, but maybe wider than people think. What exactly is an advertisement, according to these rules? I mean, is it just the obvious stuff, or does it cover more?
Good question. It's actually way broader than you might initially think. The housing developers' rules define advertisement very, very expansively. It essentially means any form of representation used for advertising, marketing, publicity, or making an announcement. So that could be writing, pictures still, or moving signs, symbols, visual images, messages, even audible messages. And the rules specifically state it includes any form, manner, or medium, whether that's electronic or, something else entirely. It's really comprehensive.
Wow, okay, so that casts a massive net then. It means basically everything from that glossy brochure you get in the mail
That's covered.
to a huge billboard you see, or an online video that pops up, or even like a radio jingle, all under these rules.
Exactly. All of it. The whole idea is to stop developers finding loopholes, trying to claim something isn't technically an ad. And just to be clear, these rules specifically target ads made by or, on behalf of licensed housing developers for their housing projects. And a housing project here means developing 5 or more separate units for people to live in, residential dwellings.
Right, 5 or more units. Got it. So it prevents them using, say, an influencer video that looks like a casual tour but is actually a paid ad making specific claims without following the rules.
Precisely. Any communication designed to sell the property, no matter how subtle, has to meet these standards of truth and completeness. It's about protecting you, the consumer.
Okay, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So we know what counts as an ad. Now let's flip that. What absolutely must be included in these ads? This feels like the really critical checklist part for anyone looking at a new property, right? The non-negotiables.
You're spot on. These are the mandatory particulars under Rule 3. And it's important to note, this applies to ads other than those just on radio or TV. For pretty much everything else, print, online, displays developers must include 5 key pieces of info. First up, the full name and the license number of the developer. No hiding who's behind the project. Accountability.
Okay, transparency right from the start. Makes sense.
Second, the tenure of the land. Is it freehold? Is it 99-year leasehold? And crucially, any encumbrances like existing legal burdens or rights attached to that land.
So you know exactly what you're buying into, tenure-wise. What's next?
Third, the expected date for vacant possession. That's when you actually get the keys and can move in. Super important for planning. Fourth is the expected date for legal completion when the title is formally transferred to you. The legal ownership handover.
Right. The moving date and the official ownership date. Both key milestones.
And finally, the 5th point, the precise location. This includes the lot number and the Mukim or town subdivision.
Mukim or town subdivision.
Yeah.
That sounds very specific, like more than just a street address.
Exactly. It's Singapore's official land lot system. It pinpoints the exact legal plot of land. No ambiguity about where your future home actually sits.
Wow. Okay, you can see why these are mandatory. Imagine not knowing the lease details or when you could actually move in. It prevents so much potential confusion. And that exception for radio and TV, that makes practical sense too. You can't list a Mukim number in a 30-second ad.
Precisely. It balances transparency with the limitations of the medium.
All right, so that's the must-haves.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the must-not-haves. What's strictly forbidden in these ads? The red flags buyers should look out for.
Yes. Rule 6 covers the prohibited particulars. These are things designed to prevent misleading claims or inappropriate associations. There are 3 main categories. First, developers absolutely cannot suggest, even subtly, any kind of patronage from the president or their family.
Okay, so no leveraging the highest office for commercial gain. Seems obvious, but good. It's codified.
Second, they can't suggest any connection with a government department, a statutory body, or even a public building or place.
Hmm. Why is that one so important?
It stops developers implying some sort of official endorsement. Or, say, misleadingly using proximity to a future MRT station or a popular school to boost appeal as if it's an exclusive benefit or guarantee endorsed by the authorities.
Ah, I see. So they can't make it seem like the government somehow backs their specific project or overpromise based on nearby public amenities.
Exactly. The property has to sell on its own merits, not implied connections. And the third prohibition is quite broad but very powerful. An ad cannot contain any attribute or claim to which the housing developer cannot genuinely make a claim.
Okay, that sounds like a catch-all for, well, for not lying.
Pretty much. It's a safeguard against any false, exaggerated, or unsubstantiated claims. No unblocked sea views from every unit, if only the penthouse has one.
Right, or showing pictures of a park next door that residents can actually access. It forces them to be truthful and specific.
That's the core of it. It protects consumers from being swayed by hype, by implied authority, or by claims that just aren't, well, real. It ensures a level of fairness.
Okay, that's clear. Must-haves, must-not-haves. So what happens if a developer slips up? If they miss out required info, or worse, put in something false or misleading, what are the consequences?
Well, the rules are quite strict here. Rule 7 is very clear. It prohibits anyone from publishing or broadcasting any ad for a housing project if it, 1, contains false or misleading information, 2, fails to include those mandatory details from Rule 3 we talked about, or 3, includes any of the prohibited stuff from Rule 6.
So if an ad breaks any of those rules, it's a violation.
Yes. And the consequences can be serious. We're talking potential fines, orders to pull or correct the ad, and in persistent or severe cases, it could even affect their developer's license. The controller of housing has enforcement powers.
That sounds like it has real teeth then.
It does. But there's a small nuance. Rule 4 does give the controller the discretion to waive some of these advertising requirements.
So a loophole.
Not really a loophole for everyday use. It's more for genuinely exceptional circumstances. Maybe a unique heritage project where standard ad formats don't quite work, or some other very specific situation that gets pre-approval. It's not a free pass.
Okay, that makes sense. So overall, it's a pretty robust framework. It really seems designed to protect us, the consumers, and keep the market transparent.
That's exactly the goal. It puts the responsibility squarely on the developers to be accurate and honest. It builds trust.
Which ultimately empowers the buyer, doesn't it?
Absolutely. When you know what information must be there, what claims are not allowed, and that there's a system holding developers accountable, well, you're in a much stronger position. It helps you cut through the marketing noise and focus on the facts, making the whole process less daunting and, hopefully, leading to better decisions.
So, thinking about all this, here's something to mull over. What kind of ripple effect do these detailed advertising rules have on the overall transparency of Singapore's property market? And maybe more personally, how does knowing these rules really empower you when you're looking at property, or even just as an informed citizen? Definitely some food for thought there. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive on Singapore property talk law. We really hope you found this look at housing developer advertising rules useful, maybe even enlightening. Please remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That way you won't miss out on our next deep dive into Singapore's property world. Until then, stay informed.